Hey guys, this is B Communications, and welcome to my review of one of my all-time favorite Sylvester Stallone flicks, as well as one of my favorite, probably, I don't know. There's a lot of good science fiction action movies out there, but I'm not the most familiar with that entire genre. But definitely probably in my top 10 of that genre, Demolition Man. I love this movie. I find it to be one of my all-time favorite flicks. It's actually one of the first Stallone films I saw was Demolition Man because a good friend of mine, who's been like a father to me, he liked the movie and he had the DVD he's the one that bought the DVD. So I was really young when I first saw this and I really loved it. Um, Great action, really, really underrated humor, and a really cool idea. And my opinion, Stallone's funniest film is Demolition Man, and it's not even a comedy. I think, is his best comedic performance is in a movie that's not even necessarily a comedy. It's more of a satire of PC, politically correct values, and it's also a hell of an action movie, a hell of a science fiction flick, really entertaining, really fun. I have a blast, and I had a blast watching this again, and I wish I could have seen this in the theater. I wish I could have seen this in the theater. It would have been quite the experience. I enjoy Last Action Hero, but I would definitely say out of the film of night when comparing the two films that came out in '93 with Stallone, I'd probably say I like Cliffhanger better too than Last Action Hero. But it's hard for me to choose between Cliffhanger and Demolition Man. But I'd probably give Demolition Man the slight edge over Cliffhanger because of the personal history I have with it. I love this movie. I adore it. I really enjoy it. So this review, retrospective, will be however long it's going to be. I'm going to try to make it a little bit shorter, though, because I've been trying to make it so the retrospectives aren't an hour and a half long. Keep it within an hour if I can, but we'll see. Anyway, Demolition Man is a 1993 film directed by Marco Brambilla. And Marco Brambilla, this is pretty much his best film. He really didn't do much after this, sadly. He directed Dinotopia and then did some movie called Districted, and he directed a segment of it. And then pretty much after that, he was done, which is really too bad. I think he did an excellent job directing this movie, and he deserved a lot more. Especially since Demolition Man wasn't a flop, so why the hell did he not direct that much else after this? That's really sad. Um, the film was produced by Joel Silver, Michael Levy, and Howard Kazajan. Kazajanin? I don't know. Kazanjian. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Screenplay was by Daniel Waters, who also worked on Last Action Hero, surprisingly enough. Robert Renault and Peter M. Lemkov. Stories stories by Peter M. Lemkov and Robert Renault. The film stars Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes, Sandra Bullock, Nigel Hawthorne, Benjamin Bratt, Denis Leary. Rob Schneider is an uncredited role as Irwin. Jack Black is one of the Wasteland scrap guys. Bill Cobbs is Zachary Lamb, the old Zachary Lamb. Bob Gunton as Chief George Earl. Paul Perry is a squad leader. Pat Skipper is a helicopter pilot. Glenn Shadix has a role in the film as Associate Bob. And then, just a few other actors now. Jesse Ventura has a brief role that was actually more expanded in the original cut, but it was cut out. And because Sly actually got to fight with Jesse Ventura, which I wonder where the hell that footage is. I'd like to see that. And Andre Gregory plays Warden William Smithers. Jack Black is in this underground scene, and he's the one that flinches when Spartan shoves the gun out of his face and says, and Cocteau's an asshole. Sandra Bullock replaced the original actress Lori Petty in the role of Lenina Huxley after a few days of filming. Originally, Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal were offered lead roles in the movie, and the role of Simon Phoenix was also offered to Jackie Chan. Warner Brothers disliked the first cut of the film, so they brought in editor Stuart Baird to recut it. The same thing happened to another Stallone movie, Tango and Cash, which was heavily re-edited many times by Baird and other editors due to the behind-the-scenes problems and Warner Brothers disliking initial cuts. Originally Demolition Man, there were some other more plot parts, including Spartan meeting his grown-up daughter in the sewers amongst Edgar Friendly's people. In the movie, Spartan is shown protecting a girl during the shootout in the sewers. This is his daughter. who was also seen in the ending scene standing next to Friendly while he was talking with Spartan. Other scenes which were deleted includes Phoenix killing Zachary Lamb before the car chase between him and Spartan begins, extra lines of dialogue, which some of which can be seen in various trailers for the movie, and longer-sized additional action scenes, including the infamous deleted fight scene between Sylvester Stallone and Jason Ventura. In one deleted action scene during the battle in the sewers, Spartan goes on the bridge from which Phoenix and his gang are shooting and starts to fight with Phoenix before the bridge turns over. While both of them are hanging on it, Phoenix says to Spartan that the bus passengers, which he failed to save back in 1996, were already dead, meaning that Spartan was sent to cryo prison for nothing. In the movie, Phoenix says this to Spartan during the car chase near the conclusion of the film, but Phoenix is not shown speaking on screen, indicating the dialogue from the deleted scene was placed in the scene or was dubbed by the actor. Some other deleted and alternate scenes can be seen in several trailers, promotional photos, and even in the novelizations of the movie. General Motors provided the production team with 18 concept vehicles, including the ultralight concept vehicle. More than 20 fiberglass replicas of the ultralight were produced to portray civilian and SAPD patrol vehicles in the film. After the filming had completed, the remaining ultralights were returned to Michigan as part of GM's concept vehicle fleet. The movie also features an 1970 Oldsmobile 442 in its chase scene. The Oldsmobile brand is featured prominently in the film, including a scene involving an Oldsmobile dealership, becoming an unintentional anachronism due to the Oldsmobile's brand discontinuation in 2004. There's also a red Chevrolet Camaro fitted with a body kit, driving around in most scenes around the city, parked in others. For some non-American releases, references to Taco Bell were changed to Pizza Hut because the latter had a much larger share of foreign fast food markets in the early 1990s. This includes dubbing, plus changing the logos during post-production. Taco Bell remains in the closing credits. In the Swedish release, the subtitles still use Taco Bell, while the sound and picture has been altered as above. The original version released in Australia on VHS contained Taco Bell, yet the newer version on DVD changed both in logo and dubbing to Pizza Hut. In the scene where the restaurant patrons are looking through the glass window to the fight scene outside, Taco Bell can be seen etched into the glass, even in the modified version. Hungarian science fiction writer Avstan Nemere claims that most of Demolition Man is based on his novel Holtak Harka, Fight of the Dead, published in 1986. In the novel, a terrorist and his enemy, a counter-terrorism soldier, are cryogenically frozen and awakened in the 22nd century to find violence has been purged from society. Yeah, that is pretty familiar. Nemere claimed that a committee proved that 75% of the film was identical to the book. Nemere, though, chose not to initiate a lawsuit as it would have been too expensive for him to hire a lawyer and fight against the major Hollywood forces in the United States. The author claims that Hollywood has plagiarized works of many Eastern European writers after the fall of the Iron Curtain, and that he knows the person he claims to be responsible for legally selling his idea to the filmmakers. When the film came out, it received mixed reviews. Rotten Tomatoes gave the film a score of 64%, rating based on 36 reviews. The film scored a 34 out of 100 on Metacritic, based on 99 reviews. 34 out of 100 on Metacritic? Fuck Metacritic. 34 out of 100? Are you fucking kidding me? 34? That's way too fucking low for this movie. This movie doesn't deserve a 34, and a 64% is too low too. This is not a mixed bag. I'm sorry, I don't see it. This movie has great action sequences that still hold up to this day as some of the best in the science fiction genre. Really exciting, fun fights. Really good action. Great villain in Simon Phoenix. He's a villain you love to hate, but you also love to watch because he's having so much fun, Wesley Snipes. So this is one of Sylvester Stallone's best performances, one of his best films, and it's also really clever with its satire, and 64% is too fucking low, especially when you see how Sharknado 2 has a higher rating than Demolition Man. Yeah, I said it. Sharknado 2 has, what, an 84%? Or some shit? Demolition Man does not deserve a 64% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it sure as hell doesn't deserve a 34 out of 100 on Metacritic. Fuck Metacritic. Fuck Rotten Tomatoes. I think I'll just fucking go with my personal opinion on the movie, which I think it fucking kicks ass, and that'll be it. And I got so pissed I just dropped my fucking remote. Great. See, just gotta defend this movie. Why the fuck did it get a 64%? Why the hell did it get a 34 out of 100 on Metacritic? That's way too goddamn low. And it gets a decent rating on IMDb. Like, it gets a 6.6, the same rating, I believe, as, it's the same rating as, I think it's the same rating as, I don't think that's the same rating as Ford Fairlane, but I'm just checking. Yeah, Fort Furley gets a 6.2. Demolition Man gets a 6.6. Oh, it's the same rating as Commando. That's what it is. The same rating as Commando on IMDb. But on Siskel and Ebert, Gene Siskel gave the movie thumbs down because he said it was too violent, but he did praise its funny, offbeat script. Roger Ebert, though, praised the movie and said that unlike so many movies of its genre, it really does have a satiric angle to it. I'd have to say Roger Ebert. I'm learning to respect the man more and more each time I do reviews like this. But Gene Siskel, I'm more and more learning to tell the guy to, I don't know, he's dead. May he rest in peace. But he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. I don't care. He had his time in the sun. He had his moment in the spotlight. He had his own TV show. It doesn't mean that he's the end-all, be-all of movie reviewers. It doesn't mean that. Because half the time, his fucking reasoning is stupid. It makes no sense. The movie's too violent? Oh, the action movie. You're going to criticize an action movie for being too violent? What the fuck is wrong with you? But you give Speed 2 thumbs up. But you say Demolition Man thumbs down because it's too violent. But I like the offbeat, funny script. But, you know, for an action movie, it's too violent for my tastes. Fuck you, okay? I'm sorry. I don't care. He can spit in his grave. He can come back as a zombie from his grave and break down my door right now and bitch smack me. I don't give a shit. I won't change my mind. I think his opinion on this movie is bullshit. It's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. I think his opinion on Demolition Man is full of shit. Criticizing the movie because it's too violent is stupid and is not fair to an action film. If the movie wasn't violent enough, I'd be pissed. And also, we missed the fucking point. The reason why it is so violent is to have a nice contrast between this future, which is so goody-goody two-shoes, adamant future, where everything's all pristine, everything's good, everything's great, everybody's being well, everything's wonderful. And when you have a killer come in Simon Phoenix, they don't know how to deal with it. So it's a nice contrast between this wonderful, beautiful, pristine society and then this ultra-violent action sequences. That really adds a nice contrast to the sequences in the film. At least that's how I looked at it as. Too violent? Siskel, you're full of shit. Anyway, just had to do that. Just had to get that off my chest. Now, another thing I like about the movie, other than the action and the cast and you know, the really clever, witty script, is the score by Elliot Goldenthal. I thought Elliot Goldenthal did a really good job with the score. Yeah, it did remind me of Batman Forever. It definitely did. It did give me Batman Forever flashbacks. He definitely did crib some notes from this soundtrack to use for Batman Forever later. But I still really like the score. I think it really does fit the film really well. There's a little bit of trivia. Sylvester Stallone stated in interviews that the idea behind the three seashells, and this is really, really gross. So here's what the three seashells were supposed to be about, and you will be thankful that they didn't explain it in the movie, but I'm going to explain it now. So try not to puke. Sylvester Stallone, or dry heave with this, or not, or just try not. This is gross. I just throwing it out there ahead of time for you. Sylvester Stallone stated in interviews that the idea behind the three seashells was that two were used like chopsticks, or to clamp together to pull waste out of the body, and the third was used to scrape what was left over. No explanation was made about how they were to be cleaned or sanitized between uses. Excuse me while I get some water so I don't fucking throw up all over myself. That is fucking gross. It's fucking nasty. That was more like something that I should have been, and I don't want to know. I don't want to know it, but now you know. Now you know. Wesley Snipes' kicks and punches sometimes look lurchy and awkward. It's because Snipes is a black belt in real life, and his kicks and punches were so fast that they blurred on camera. Hence, the producers asked him to slow them down. Nigel Hawthorne didn't get along with either Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. Well, boo-hoo. Sylvester Stallone wanted the Simon Phoenix character to be played by Jackie Chan. Chan refused, since Asian audiences don't like the idea of actors who have always played heroes suddenly playing evil characters. Might have been interesting, but I'm glad Wesley Snipes got it, because it's actually my favorite role by Wesley Snipes is as Simon Phoenix in this movie. Many of the cars in the movie are prototypes of future models supplied by General Motors. Yeah, the two original choices for the role were Steven Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Van Damme was offered the role of the bad guy, but he didn't want that role. He agreed to star in it if both the lead roles could be switched, but the producer tried to get Seagal to play the bad guy, and he declined. I'm glad it turned out the way it did, because it was the first time Stallone was in a science fiction movie, and it was really cool to see that. Yeah, Fred Dekker, who wrote Night of the Creeps and Monster Squad and also directed them, did uncredited rewrites on the script. I didn't know that. When he was brought on, the script began in the future, and Spartan was introduced when he was brought out of the suspended animation. Dekker suggested that the film open with a prologue set in 1996 to showcase Spartan and Phoenix in their natural environment, saying that if you don't show Kansas, Oz isn't all that special. Well, good job, Fred. You really did help the film there. But too bad you didn't get to do jack shit for the rest of your career. I understand RoboCop 3 sucked. I understand that. It sucked, but I mean, look at Olivia Megaton still getting the multiple movies to direct. Fucking McCheeseburger still got to direct movies. Uwe Boll still has a career, but Fred Dekker can't direct a movie again. But, screw it. At least he's working on the new Predator reboot, which is not a sequel. It's actually not. It's not a reboot. It's a sequel. He's working on the new sequel with Shane Black. I'll wait to see a trailer for that, but I wish him the best of luck with that. I really do. Because Fred Dekker is a very talented writer, and I think he deserves a lot better in Hollywood. And hopefully the Predator sequel gets off the ground as a hit and is a good movie, then hopefully his career will have a resurrection and he'll have more chances to do more stuff. I would love to see that. He's the type of writer that Hollywood is in desperate need of nowadays. A writer with a really clever sense of humor. And a lot of films lately, even if they're trying to be funny, are failing miserably because they suck. They suck because they can't be funny because they're not funny. They're not genuinely funny or clever. They're just stupid and lowbrow and dumb, which I guess is a lot of what the humor is lately nowadays. Hence why I hate SNL now. Anyway, just had to get that off my chest too. A lot of stuff. Anyway, Sandra Bullock's character Lenina Huxley is asked, "Where did you learn to kick like that?" And her reply was from watching Jackie Chan movies, which is funny because Jackie Chan is a good friend of Stallone. In the Spanish dub, Huxley says it was from watching Bruce Lee movies. Jackie Chan actually started in cinema as Bruce Lee's stunt double. I didn't know that. Okay, all right. The action figures of the Demolition Man in full armor is actually a repainted He-Man action figure from the line of 1990. So it's the New Adventures of He-Man line. That's really pathetic. Yeah, Sandra Bullock actually replaced Lori Petty after a few days of filming. So I'm curious about what the story is behind that. I really am. Because I really like Lori Petty. I loved her as Tank Girl. And this does seem like a role that's right up her alley. So I wonder what happened. If I ever got the chance to meet her, of course, to talk to her about Tank Girl, get her to autograph a photo of Tank Girl or something, and then I talked to her about what exactly happened with Demolition Man. Because I would have loved to see Lori Petty in a film with Stallone. Yeah, there's a weird sort of coincidence in the film. In the early scene after the first MDK, the name Scott Peterson is listed as one of the cryo prisoners. The name appears listed before Simon Phoenix on its computer display, which the character Lenina Huxley, played by Sandra Bullock, has called to the screen. This is merely coincidence. However, Scott Peterson was not a public figure until he was tried for the murder of his wife during 2004-2005. It's just a coincidence. It's not predicting the future. Sandra Bullock's costume during the Taco Bell sequence was made of stones and gems weighing approximately 40 pounds. After the fight scene outside the restaurant when her character gleefully jumps and replays the action, her dress actually started to rip, which is why she's holding her arms to her sides after Stallone walks away. In Kuwait, the Arabic title of the movie in the cinemas was Rambo the Destroyer. It was a Rambo movie. The idea is that seeing the Rambo movies were very popular, associating Stallone with Rambo in the title would perhaps sell more tickets. That's really, really hilarious. The title was actually taken from the Police's song of the same name, hence the use of Sting to remake the song for the film, Demolition Man. The screenwriting process for the film became incredibly convoluted as far as both the numbers of writers involved and the changes between drafts along with the wildly divergent ideas different producers have. At one point, Peter M. Lenkov, Jonathan Lemkin, and actor Craig Sheffer were all claiming credits and or working on the film at the same time. Craig Sheffer? Interesting. Interesting. That's why I'd love to see even a featurette, a documentary on making Demolition Man. That'd be great. It sounds like it was a kind of a hell of a film to make, had a lot of rewrites and stuff, and even with all of that, it really turned out to be a classic. So, that would be really interesting to hear that story. And Craig Sheffer, huh. The situation only cleared itself when Joel Silver took on chief production values, and he paid all the writers substantial amounts of money to go away. And he then used the work of Lemkin along with body and fender work from writer Daniel Waters, whom Silver worked with on the adventures of Ford Fairlane. Huh, there's a Ford Fairlane connection. All right, interesting. In the underground garage where John meets Egger, the word Losfat, the word Lofast, is seen scrawled on overhead air duct. This is a Hungarian swear word meaning horse dick that was famously spoken by Edward James Olmos in Blade Runner to Harrison Ford. Throughout, though, the movie was released in 1993, Simon Phoenix and John Spartan were supposed to have been imprisoned in the cryo prison in 1996. In the scene where Wesley Snipes' character Simon Phoenix is releasing the other cryo prisoners, he makes a reference to serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. Dahmer was killed in prison in 1994 after the film's release, but before the cryo prison would have been built. During TV replays, the Dahmer references were edited out because they seemed anachronistic. Warner Brothers disliked the first cut of the movie, so they brought in editor Stuart Barrett to do some re-editing. Same thing happened to Stallone, after Tango and Cash and so forth, and I already talked about that. But anyway, Simon Phoenix actually has two different colored eyes, which I noticed, and I was like, for the first time, actually after watching this movie again, I'm like, he has two different colored eyes. One's blue and one's like hazel or something. The music used in the trailer, it is the Vampire Hunter's score from Dracula. The da 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 ba ba ba. It's a great score. Wojciech Kilar's score for Bram Stoker's Dracula is one of the many great things about that movie, and it really did work really well for the trailer for Demolition Man. Even though Jonathan Lemkin was the last writer working on the movie, drafted a shooting script, he lost the Writers Guild arbitration, and his name does not appear in the credits. That's really too bad. That sucks. The magnetic cell accelerator, possibly similar to the rail coil gun used by Wesley Snipes in the museum armory sequence, is based on the Heckler & Koch G11, a prototype weapon used for the German army that would have been the most advanced rifle in the world, firing caseless ammunition. When the cops are talking about bringing Spartan back in Huxley's office, you can see a big sword in the background. Beneath that is a miniature bust like the one for Speed, a movie in which Sandra Bullock stars 1 year later. That's interesting. The building used for exterior shots of the SAPD building was the California headquarters of GTE in Thousand Oaks. Charlton Wilborn made an uncredited cameo appearance as Carl the Waste on Scraps scene with Edgar Friendly at the beginning of the movie. The scene where Cocteau invites John and Lena to Taco Bell was filmed at a large business complex in Irvine, California. Immediately across the I-5 freeway from this location, within eye shot, was the international headquarters of Taco Bell. According to the commentary found on the Region 1 DVD, there were some scenes deleted from the movie, including the subplot involving Spartan's daughter and the murder of Zachary Lamb by Phoenix. According to the scripts before the final draft, the film starts out in 1998 and goes over to 2042 as John Spartan and Simon Phoenix were frozen for 44 years. In that draft, a Cryocon was named Ignatius and was changed to Howie, while Howie was written out and replaced with a thug already released according to what was cut out of the movie. Beppo was Albert, Kodo was Beppo, and Adam, played by Jesse Ventura, was Charlie. And Jesse Ventura's character dies in an underground battle, assumed to be killed by armed scraps, or Denis Leary's character that was in the draft. That draft named Thomas Paine. When John Spartan went after Denis Leary's character, when John Spartan went after Simon Phoenix, it is that Elvin, who is the Crybicon that kicked the chair out of the way when Cocteau was killed, that kills Cocteau in the draft rather than Crybicon played by Jesse Ventura, that according to what was cut out or not filmed, John Spartan either kills or incapacitates Elvin. It's confusing because the person who wrote that on IMDb, I think English is not their first language. No offense, I just don't think it's their first language. Anyway, yeah, what is it with the deleted scenes? Why would you cut out a fight between Stallone and Jesse Ventura? Why would you cut out scenes where Stallone actually fights more cryocons? Unlike Judge Dredd, though, 1995 film, the actual movie is still really a great film. But so the cutout scenes don't really necessarily hurt the movie. They would, if they were put back in, it would just do nothing but help the film. Unlike Judge Dredd 1995, where the cutout scenes of the clones, it really hurts the film. Here, it doesn't hurt it that much because you still have some really fun fight scenes and a nice little, tit for tat between Stallone and Wesley Snipes. So anyway, the film first starts out in 1996 with a really cool action scene where I love it. I love the idea. Helicopters. You have Stallone on the bungee cord going down, with the one-liner, "Send a maniac to Catchwood." Then woo, jumps out. Great use of the score by Elliot Goldenthal. He jumps out on the bungee cord, shoots some motherfuckers, unoaks from it, kicks some more ass. He's trying to nail Simon Phoenix. So this takes place in 1996, the prologue to the future events in the film, where John Spartan leads a special operations unit on an unauthorized mission to rescue hostages taken by the psychopathic career criminal Simon Phoenix and his henchmen. After a thermal scan reveals no sign of the hostages, Spartan enters Phoenix's stronghold and engages Phoenix's men and captures Phoenix himself, which I really enjoy the little back and forth they have. Phoenix says, "Is it cold in here or is it just me?" which is a repeated line that Spartan gives at the film's climax. And I like that scene where Spartan just punches Phoenix in the face. And it was this really, really rousing, fun action sequence to start the film. And anyway, before he gets ended up being arrested, Phoenix ends up detonating several barrels of C4, destroying the building. And this is actually, there's a little bit of behind the scenes of this stunt that's in is not a makeup special effects, but all special effects. A special effects documentary I have on DVD called I think it's called Art in Motion. Not Art in Motion. It's called Art in Motion is the H.R. Giger thing I watched recently. It's the Art of Illusion. I think it's called Art of Illusion. 100 years of Hollywood special effects. And in this documentary that I still have, which is an out of print DVD, there's a little bit of behind the scenes Demolition Man, where they talk about the stunts and talk about how they did how they filmed and did the effects for the entire opening sequence, pretty much, especially the explosion, which is one of the best explosions in my opinion on film, when the whole building just goes sky high. Anyway, so he detonates C4 and destroys the building, and the hostages' bodies end up getting found in the rubble. And Phoenix ends up pleading his regard, and Spartan is charged with their deaths. Both men are then frozen in a cryo prison and exposed to subconscious rehabilitation techniques. I like the idea of the cryo prison too. That's really, really unique. I don't care if it's ripped off by some Eastern European guy who wrote a novel. It's still a really cool thing. Remember the lines of dialogue. I like the whole way this whole scene was set up after the explosion. Spartan's captain is like, "Damn it, Spartan! I'm sick and tired of this Demolition Man shit. You were not supposed to come down here, and you were not supposed to apprehend Simon Phoenix single-handedly, and you were not supposed to blow anything up. It wasn't me this time. He dumped the gas and had the place rigged to blow. Yeah, right. You had nothing to do with it. I know you've been trying to nail this psycho for 2 years, but try to remember a little thing like official police procedure. Now, where are the hostages?" "They're not here." "What do you mean they're not here? Are you sure? Because I did a thermo check. There are only 8 people, all part of his gang." "Wrong again. You have something to say, scumbag? Get him out of here. You and I are going to have a nice long chat." The firefighter comes in and starts talking. Captain, what? "We checked the building. There's bodies everywhere. There has to be about 20 or 30. They're everywhere." Spartan looks in disbelief. See, Captain, I told him, and he said he didn't care." "Oh, shit. I can't believe you gave up 330 hostages for little old me. We're going to have a nice time together. See you, sweetie, honey, sugar. Hope you called your lawyer because you're going to need him." I just loved how Wesley Snipes was just fucking with Spartan in that scene. You can see Wesley Snipes is just having a blast playing Simon Phoenix. Anyway, so they end up getting frozen in the cryo prison. And in 2032, 22 years later, after the 2010 Great Earthquake, earthquake, quake, and the former cities of Los Angeles, San Diego, and Santa Barbara have all merged into a pseudo-utopian San Angeles, under the pseudo-pacifist guidance and control of Dr. Raymond Cocteau, who is played by Nigel Hawthorne. Weapons and vices are outlawed, human behavior, sex, children, bad words, etc. are prohibited or regulated, and citizens carry implanted transceivers that, chips that tell the police and everybody where they are. And in resulting absence of any violent crime, the San Angeles Police Department has lost any ability to handle violent behavior of any kind. And so Phoenix ends up being awakened for his parole hearing. Do you have anything to say left to say, Mr. Phoenix? Yeah, I do. Teddy bear. And then that's the password for the locks on his. He got unfrozen for his parole hearing, and he's getting locked up. And the password for the locks is Teddy bear. So he gets out and kicks ass, kills the warden, Warden William Smithers, and pulls out his freaking eyeball and uses it to, uses the scan so he can get out of the prison. It's a really, grisly scene, but really well shot. And then Phoenix kills the warden, armed guards, and several police officers, demonstrating super speed, strength, agility, and martial arts skills. He is also multilingual and proficient with future technology and has acute sensory skills. And so I have a blast the whole scene where he just kicks all these guys' ass. When he starts up and he's just going in, checking out. He's coming in and he's looking on this computer. He's trying to do all this stuff. I'm just trying to find it here. This one. It was like he's looking for a gun. It's like this booth. It's like an internet booth. It's like gun, noun, portable firearm. This device was widely utilized in the urban wars of the late 20th century. Referred to as a pistol, a piece. Look, I don't need a history lesson. Come on, Hal, where are the goddamn guns? You will find 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute. What? Fuck you! Your repeated violation of the verbal morality statute has caused me to notify the San Angeles Police Department. Please remain where you are for your reprimand. Yeah, right. And then the sirens, he hears the sirens. The fuckers are fast, too. You will find 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute. I love that, he even starts typing really. He's like, man, I'm possessed. And I just like the whole scene where this guy, the cops come in. They track Simon Phoenix, and they come in and they try to solve the situation. All they have is these like electric batons, and the squad leader just comes up, Simon Phoenix, and he's like, Simon Phoenix, lie down with your hands. Simon Phoenix, lie down with your hands behind your back. What's this? 6 of you. Such nice tidy uniforms. Oh, I'm so scared. Then he goes back to working on the computer. What? You guys don't have sarcasm anymore? Maniac has responded with a scornful remark, and then this automated assistant ends up tells the squad leader to approach and repeat ultimatum in an even firmer tone of voice. Add the words, or else. Simon Phoenix, lie down with your hands behind your back, or else. And then Simon Phoenix turns around and just kicks their asses. And I like the little, weird sort of score that's going on in that whole scene. I like the sequence where the one guy actually starts to put up some fisticuffs, tries to fight him. I like how Simon Phoenix is like, oh. This is a lot of fun. He blows up the police car with the baton, and then he takes the camera off, and he's like, he sings a little bit of the national anthem, and the home of the brave. Play ball, boinks. Yeah, I love Wesley Snipes in this movie. He's so much fun. Anyway, because Wesley Snipes, Simon Phoenix is an accomplished murder killer. They're not. The police officers even say we're not equipped to handle this type of violence. We don't know how to handle this. We're police officers. We're not trained to handle this kind of violence. And of course, the whole sort of quotes earlier while he's kicking the police's ass. He's like, Simon says bleed. Simon says die. Anyway, so after that, they realize, okay, And Cocteau ends up telling the warden, not really the warden, he tells the police, the main, detective guy, the main guy, played by Bob Gunton, Chief George Earl. He tells him that anything necessary to capture this killer. So Lenina Huxley, with the help of Zachary Lamb, who worked with John Spartan, basically comes with the idea that, you're going to have, why not defrost John Spartan, the man who captured Simon Phoenix? So veteran officer Zachary Lamb suggests Spartan be revived and reinstated to the force to help them capture Phoenix. Lieutenant Lenina Huxley is assigned to assist Spartan in his transition. And I like the whole little brief scenes where they show a little clip from this sequence from the past. Stallone's playing Demolition. John Spartan, he's got long Rambo hair, and he saved this girl from a burning building. And this is just a little clip of a news clip. And I think it's pretty funny, actually. This reporter's like, how can you justify destroying a $7 million mini mall to rescue a girl whose ransom was only $25,000? Then the little girl's like, fuck you, lady! And then Spartan's like, ha, good answer. That was pretty funny. And so anyway, what happens is Spartan gets defrosted, and he first, first thing he comes up with is, I had a wife. What happened to my wife? It's like her light was extinguished in the big one of 2010. I had a kid. I had a daughter. I promised. Stallone did a really good job acting when he first gets woken up from his cryo sentence. And of course you have this fun sort of sequence, nice bit of satire where Lenina Huxley's, he after he gets this bad news that his wife is dead and his daughter, don't know where she is, she could be missing, or she could be dead. She comes in and she's telling him, Spartan, everything, everything's illegal. And Spartan actually, after he gets all this news, he asks for a cigarette, Marlboro. Hey, can you give me a Marlboro? It's like, oh, Marlboro. Yeah, Marlboro. What's a Marlboro? A cigarette. And then Lenina Huxley is like, smoking is not good for you, and it has been deemed that anything not good for you is bad, hence illegal. Alcohol, caffeine, contact sports, meat. Are you shitting me? John Spartan, you are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute. What the hell is that? John Spartan, you were fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute. Bad language, chocolate, gasoline, uneducational toys, and anything spicy. Abortion is also illegal, and then again, so is pregnancy if you don't have a license. So, I like that little bit. This is a shitty future. This future sucks. I would hate this future. Anyway, and even Stallone doesn't like, even Spartan doesn't like it either. I mean, they're riding around in a police car and they're listening to some tunes. And this is the classic radio station, and they start singing, Oscar Mayer, singing Armor Hot Dogs, Armor Hot Dogs. The dogs kids love to bite. And like they're all loving it, and Stallone, I love his line and the way he delivers this. He's just like, somebody put me back in the fridge. Anyway, so he's obviously having trouble adapting to life in the future. Most of Huxley's fellow officers perceive Spartan as thuggish and uncivilized, especially Chief George Earl. In the meantime, the white robed Dr. Cocteau has recruited Phoenix to kill Friendly. That's the whole idea. He set this all up. He gave him all these different rehabilitation programs to make him the ultimate killer, and put in messages in his subconscious while he was frozen in the cryo prison to kill Edgar Friendly, the foremost figure among the underground tribe of uncontrolled individuals. Free humans that Cocteau sees as a threat to his narcotized society he's created. So his society that's a brainwashed society. The first Spartan Phoenix confrontation is at the Museum of Antiquities weapon exhibit, where Phoenix goes to arm himself as Spartan deduced he will. Of course, before that, you had a fun scene that we first had the mention of the 3 seashells, where Spartan is swearing to this stupid machine. Or even before that, I like the whole sequence where he's talking about the three seashells, and they're of course everyone's laughing at him, acting like you don't know what they are. It's hilarious. Um, there's a lot of fun lines in this movie. Here it is. He's like, John Spartan's whispering to Lena. He's like, look, I don't know if you guys know it, but you're out of toilet paper. Did you just say toilet paper? They used to use handfuls of wadded paper back in the 20th, and then they all laugh at Spartan. He's like, well, I'm happy that you're happy, but the place we're supposed to have toilet paper, you got this little shelf with 3 seashells on it. And then Rob Schneider was like, he doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells. I can see how that would be confusing. And then afterwards, Stallone, Spartan ends up using his brain really cleverly here. He goes up to the machine on the wall after finding out they no longer use toilet paper, and he's like, thanks a lot, you shit brain, fuck faced, ball breaking, duck fucking pain in the ass. John Spartan, you were fined 5 credits for repeated violations of the verbal morality statute. So much for the seashells. See you in a few minutes. I just crack up at that. Anyway, so then you have a lot of fun lines where Spartan goes in to go after Simon Phoenix. Even like the scene where he can't find his way to get into the the glass case to get the guns, and this guy comes and is like, excuse me, sir, what seems to be your boggle? My boggle. How much do you weigh? Well, I weigh about... And he just grabs his ass and throws him over his head and smashes the window. And then you have the whole thing where he tries to shoot Spartan. And he's like, bad aim, Blondie. Spartan? Spartan? John Spartan? Oh, shit, they let anybody into the century. What the hell are you doing here? Of course, before that, it was like, Phoenix gets his way out of this... trying to find it here. He gets his way out of this because the Hall of Violence, where he was looking for the guns, it locked him. So it locked him in there, and so he ends up taking a cannon, and he blows. The Ottoman Armory exhibit is now sealed. All museum patrons still occupying the facility should remain calm. Help is imminent. And then the armory door is blown apart by a cannon. Simon Phoenix is like, this museum is no longer sealed, is it? Ha ha! What can I say? I'm a blast from the past. You should have stayed there. Oh boy, that voice sounds familiar. Who is that? That was a pretty fun action sequence. A lot of fun lines. Mentioned that one earlier. Then there was a fun line where, he's like, there's a brief little scuffle. Phoenix, Stallone, Spartan shoots this chandelier thing, the light that smashes through this display of 20th century life that was preserved after the earthquake, kind of like an archaeological expedition or whatever, and smashed through and then land into the little 20th century exhibit. And Stallone picks up a TV. He's like, "You're on TV." I had fun with that, and then Simon Phoenix gets the laser gun, and of course he's trying to check the status of his plasma rifle. He's like, "Come on, you space-age piece of shit!" Then you have the whole thing where he's like, "Excuse me, we're just trying to find the lines. I'd show the clips, but I don't want a copyright claim." The ray gun is ready now. It's about time. Pass this over, John. Time for something new and improved. Oh, hell. Leaps out of the way as Simon fires an energy blast from rifle, blowing a hydrant apart. Holy shit! I love this gun! And of course, then before that, even before he was like, I've been dreaming about killing you for 40 years! So, what happens is Phoenix gets away. Phoenix arms himself as Spartan, thought he would. Phoenix evades Spartan and encounters Dr. Cocteau when he tries to shoot, but he's programmed against that ability. Cocteau reminds him why he was revived to kill Edgar Friendly, the ragtag leader of the Scraps, resistant fighters living in the ruins beneath San Angeles. In a subsequent encounter, Dr. Cocteau adds Spartan to his hit list for Phoenix and agrees with him to give the territory Santa Monica upon completion. Of course, that's after he makes Spartan believe that he's very grateful for him saving his life. And he and for a reward has invited him and Lena Huxley to Taco Bell for dinner. And that's so funny. It's Taco Bell. I wouldn't mind a burrito. It was at Taco Bell. And it's like this big fancy restaurant now. And even people are insulting Spartan and all this kind of stuff. And then he has been a little bit of fight with the Scraps, and then he realizes that there's something wrong here. He ends up realizing that all they wanted is something to eat, and it's not right. So just trying to find the exact line that he said, it was actually pretty good. And of course, long before that, I forgot to mention, this is a really good scene of acting. Like, I think this is pretty much after Stallone gets defrosted. Spartan gets defrosted. He talks about... No, this is during the scene in Taco Bell, which I was really well acted by Stallone, where he's talking about, well, cryoprison is very humane, and, it's like, humane? I had memories. I had dreams. I had thoughts. That's not possible. Well, I did. Alright? Nightmares. About my wife coming in and pounding her fists against a block of ice that used to be her husband. That was a really good performance by Stallone. And then after that, he ends up getting in a little bit of the scuffle with the bad guys, and which you think are the bad guys, but they aren't, which is a nice little twist in the story. And I'm just trying to find the exact line. I know it's in here. I've seen it. Come on. Fuck. Because there were so many quotes in this. This is Huxley, enough. This isn't the Wild West. The Wild West wasn't even the Wild West. Hurting people's not a good thing. Hurting people's not a good thing. Well, sometimes it is. But not when it's a bunch of people looking for something to eat. Because that's all they wanted, is they wanted something to eat. They were robbing this food store, robbing the Taco Bell food storage. And so that's a nice little bit of, nice plot development. And so after that, that's when Cocteau ends up adding Spartan to his hit list, which is actually, honestly, after he has this fun sequence where he goes in and he meets with Cocteau and he gives him a piece of his mind. He ends up being subtle, He's good at subtle, so he ends up being really subtle and goes up to talk to Cocteau at his headquarters, and he's seeing Cocteau's face speaking to him in front of, which is basically in the form of all these dozens of monitors. And he's like, forgive my lack of bodily disposition, but I do have an entire city government to run. Yeah? We'll run this. You programmed Phoenix rehabilitation program to turn him into a terrorist. I don't think his escape was an accident either. Very subtle. Thank you. And then, of course, that's when he ends up going in and he puts the gun to Cocteau's head, and it says that memorable line when Cocteau's like, be well, be fucked. So there's a lot of fun lines in this. Of course, after Taco Bell, you have the sex scene where it's like virtual reality sex, and just the looks on Stallone's face when he's, or crack me up. And of course the lines of dialogue. It's like, what do we just do with the old-fashioned way? Just change the bodily fluids? You know what that leads to? Yeah, I do. Kids, smoking, and desire to raid the fridge. And then she pretty much says that, well, all this stuff is outlawed because at first there was AIDS and there was NRS and then, all these different sexually transmitted diseases. It's like, what we mean, even kissing? You mean mouth transfer? Yeah. It's been outlawed too. Damn, I was a good kisser. This is a lot of fun with that scene. And then, like, he tries to put the moves on her, and then she's like, "Get out of here! Get out of my domicile, John Spartan." So then he starts realizing that he's now a seamstress, which is pretty funny too. It's like, Betsy fucking Ross. And, you were in shambles. Don't worry, I can fix it. All I need is a needle and thread. I really didn't say that, did I? Damn! And then you have the fun sort of moments where Lenny Huxley gets the quotes wrong. Like, one-liners wrong. He's finally matched his meat. You really licked his ass. That's met his match. And kicked his ass. And then pretty much, okay. So I'm just going to try to get the rest of the plot over with. Anyway, what happens is Cocteau adds, then after that, everybody said told him to be fucked. He adds Spartan to his hit list for Phoenix and agrees to give him the territory of Santa Monica after completion of his task. Spartan Huxley then learned of this and deduct that Dr. Cocteau is an evil Mr. Rogers rather than San Angeles' saintly god king, and he had programmed Phoenix to make him a more capable, dangerous maniac and use him as an assassin to eliminate Friendly. While Spartan Huxley and a young officer, Alfredo Garcia, enter the underground city to warn Friendly, Phoenix confronts Cocteau and demands that he release a list of other prisoners to assist him. And before that, there was this fun sequence where Lieutenant Huxley is supposed to arrest Spartan and take him back to the cryo prison. And she's, what you're telling me to do is to violate a direct order. I'm supposed to take you back to the cryo prison. Listen, Huxley, I just know, okay? I'm going to find Phoenix and I'm going to put him on ice. That's where I'm going to be. That's where I'm going to be. After that, I'm going to turn all my attention to that fucking Fruit Loop Cocteau. Enhance your comm, John Spartan. Look, I'm tired of enhancing my comm. What, you're opening the pod to the depths of the wasteland? The real reason why your citywide search didn't work is because Phoenix was in an area that A, you can't monitor, B, you're afraid to go down, and C, you don't give a shit about. Now I'm going to find Phoenix, and I'm going to put him in a hurt locker. So you coming with me, or you going to arrest me? Okay, let's go blow this guy. Away. Blow this guy away. Whatever. So then they go in there. Spartan has a rat burger, the best burger he's ever had. And then he confronts Friendly, and Friendly has a fun line of dialogue too. I thought Denis Leary was really good in this for his brief moments that he had. I really liked him. And just trying to find this. This is a pretty long bit of dialogue. Really, really good one though. Where pretty much Friendly's like, so you think you're taking me in, huh? Guess what? That's not happening. Yeah, you can tell Cocteau he can kiss my ass. That's right. Tell him it's going to take a whole army of assholes to get rid of me because I don't give a shit. I got nothing to lose. Hey, I don't want to rain in your parade, pal. But I don't know who the hell you think you are or who's going to... I don't know who the hell you think you are or who's going to take you anywhere. So stay here, be well, and Cocteau's an asshole. No, you must be lying. There's only one down here to spy on it. They're only down here to spy on us. Wait a minute. You're the guy that decided to talk about. Yeah? What do you want? You're not part of the Cocteau plan, are you? What? Greed? Deception? Abuse of power? That's no plan. That's why everybody's down here? That's right. You see, according to Cocteau's plan, I'm the enemy. Because I like to think. I like to read. I'm into freedom of speech, freedom of choice. I'm the kind of guy who would sit in a greasy spoon and think, gee, should I have a T-bone steak or the big rack of barbecue spare ribs decided to order gravy fries? I want high cholesterol. I want to eat bacon, butter, and buckets of cheese, all right? I want to smoke a Cuban cigar the size of Cincinnati in a non-smoking section. I want to run around naked with green jello over my body reading a Playboy magazine. Why? Because maybe I feel the need to, okay, pal? I've seen the future. You know what it is? It's a 47-year-old virgin in great pajamas soaking a bubble bath, drinking a broccoli milkshake, and singing I'm a Oscar Mayer wiener. You want to live on top? You got to live Cocteau's way. What he wants, when he wants, how he wants. The other option, come down here and maybe starve to death. Why don't you take the charge and lead these people out of here? I'm the leader. I do what I have to do. Sometimes people come with me. Come with me. All I want to do is bury Cocteau up to his neck and shit and make him think happy, happy thoughts forever. We got bad news. Bad news. I think he wants to kill you. So then pretty much what happens is Phoenix then tries to go after Spartan and Friendly at that same moment. And, at Friendly's base, Phoenix and Irredeemable supplement of recruits attempt to kill both Spartan and Friendly, whom Spartan and Huxley have joined underground. They escape in a 1970 Oldsmobile 442 in a fun car chase. So there's a really cool car chase where in communication during the car chase, Phoenix reveals the hostages Spartan tried to rescue from him in the 1990s encounter were dead before the building exploded. Spartan wasn't innocent of any crime, was terminated, frozen for nothing, and Phoenix escapes. It was a fun car chase, though, with the Oldsmobile, and decent sort of fun surprise, fun chase, fun little action. Stallone jumping on top of the moving car, getting a little scuffle with Phoenix. No free rides, Spartan, and it ends up Spartan ends up knocking Phoenix out of the car. And he's in the car and it's like not working. He's driving head into SABD headquarters. He's like, "Brake! Brake! Come on, brake, you Mickey Mouse piece of shit!" And then he ends up making it out of that crash alive. And then Phoenix ends up ordering the gang to kill Cocteau, which his programming prevents him from doing directly, so he has one of his gang members, Jesse Ventura, kill him. Spartan and Huxley then arrive at Cocteau's headquarters to capture Phoenix and his accomplices. Phoenix escapes to the prison to revive and defrost and recruit even more dangerous convicts. And after knocking out Huxley to protect her, Spartan enters the prison to confront Phoenix, which is one of my favorite showdowns in films. I really love it. Stallone puts on his beret, get ready to kick some fucking ass. Gets in, he does a jump in, he jumps for a brief moment, shoots two guns, fucks up some of his cryo prisoners, goes after Phoenix. Phoenix grabs him in this claw. Phoenix, singing da 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 da, da 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 da, circus music, and shooting at him. And Spartan ends up using the nitrogen, like liquid nitrogen that's powering the machine or whatever, to freeze it. He breaks it. And he goes after Phoenix. Is it cold in here? Or is it just me? Good memory. And then they get in a nice, really gritty, nice back and forth, really well choreographed fight. And of course, it ends with Phoenix thinking he has the upper hand. He's about to spear Spartan in the chest. Spartan takes the liquid nitrogen core, smashes it, gets out of the way. Of course, before that, I had fun scenes where Phoenix is using this laser gun to try to blow up Spartan. Spartan's running away while the jail cells are blowing up behind him. And then you have the whole, he smashes the core, and Phoenix freezes. Stallone gets out of the way. He swings out of the way before before he gets frozen with the rest of the cryo prison, and then he has that fun one-liner, "Heads up!" and kicks Phoenix's frozen head off of his shoulders, and it tumbles down on the ground and shatters into a bunch of pieces. Just a badass comeuppance, a badass way to kill the bad guy. It really is very memorable too, really awesome. Right up there with the scene in T2, Hasta La Vista baby scene, where Arnold shoots the T-1000 while it's frozen and turns it in a bunch of pieces. Really fun sequence. And I really love that. And then one of my favorite scenes in a Stallone movie, like action scenes, I don't know what it is. I just love this shot. Not really my favorite action scenes, one of my favorite shots in a Stallone film is when he's running away from the explosion with Elliot Goldenthal's score in the background. So he gets away. Spartan kicks ass, takes names, freezes Phoenix, knocks his head off, and everything explodes. Cocteau is dead. The prison destroyed. The police and the scraps end up finding themselves at odds over how to begin the framework for the new society. Spartan suggests they find a way to compromise between order and personal freedom, and then kisses Huxley and departs with her and asks her what the three seashells do. And then you hear Sting's Demolition Man playing in the background, and then this kick-ass awesome movie finally comes to an end, and I wouldn't mind watching it again afterwards. I love Demolition Man. It's one of my all-time favorite films, one of my favorite Stallone movies. Definitely in my top 5. One of my favorite films of the science fiction action genre. I love the movie. I think it's very entertaining, a lot of fun. I probably forgot some quotes. I can't talk about them all. It would be way too long. But anyway, thanks. I really don't know what to say about Demolition Man. So I'm rated 5 stars. 5 out of 5. I have nothing wrong. I don't have anything wrong with this movie. There's nothing I don't like about it. I love the humor. I love the action. I love the idea. I love the premise. I love the setting. I love the location. I love the production design. I love the score by Ella Goldenthal. I love the performances. My favorite Wesley Snipes movie. One of my favorite Stallone flicks. Really do love Demolition Man. I think it's an excellent movie. And I really don't know what to say about Demolition Man except thanks for watching. And I will see you guys later. See ya.